In the tumultuous Mexican landscape, the intersection of narco-trafficking violence, endemic corruption, and economic challenges creates an environment of tension and uncertainty. In Mexico, on the brink of chaos, narco-trafficking violence, corruption, and economic challenges, we delve into the depths of this multifaceted crisis. Narco-trafficking violence. Narco-trafficking violence in Mexico is a grave problem that has pushed the country to the brink of chaos. Criminal organizations involved in drug trafficking engage in territorial disputes and battles for drug routes, resulting in armed confrontations and high levels of violence. This violence affects not only those involved in the drug trade, but also the general population, who live in constant fear and insecurity. Drug cartels wield significant power in Mexico, infiltrating various spheres of society, including government institutions and security forces. Corruption plays a pivotal role in this dynamic, allowing cartels to operate with impunity and weakening the rule of law. Lack of effective cooperation among law enforcement agencies, cartel influence over local authorities, and intimidation and violence against journalists and human rights activists contribute to the worsening situation. Narco-trafficking violence has devastating consequences for Mexican society. Beyond the lives lost and the direct impact on those caught in the crossfire, the violence also has a negative economic impact. Instability and insecurity affect tourism, investments, and the country's economic growth, jeopardizing the quality of life and future prospects for many Mexicans. To address this crisis, it is essential to adopt a comprehensive approach that involves not only direct combat against narco-trafficking but also the promotion of social and economic development in affected regions. Investments in education, crime prevention programs, strengthening of justice and security institutions, and efforts to combat corruption are crucial to breaking the cycle of violence. Additionally, international cooperation plays a significant role in the fight against narco-trafficking. Mexico needs to work closely with other countries, sharing information, resources, and best practices to effectively combat drug trafficking. Overcoming narco-trafficking violence and bringing stability to Mexico is a complex challenge but not an impossible one. It requires ongoing commitment and coordination from all sectors of Mexican society, as well as support from the international community. With the implementation of comprehensive and effective policies, it is possible to build a safer and more prosperous future for Mexico and its citizens. Corruption. In Mexico, corruption is one of the most serious problems the country faces, contributing to pushing it to the brink of chaos. Corruption permeates various spheres of Mexican society, from the lowest levels to the highest levels of government and public institutions. This widespread culture of corruption erodes citizens' trust in authorities and weakens the rule of law. Corruption in Mexico takes many forms, including bribery, embezzlement, nepotism, and collusion among politicians, businessmen, and members of the security forces. It negatively affects the functioning of public institutions, resulting in poor public services, lack of transparency, and impunity. Corruption also distorts economic competition, hinders investment, and discourages entrepreneurship. One of the main consequences of corruption is the perpetuation of social inequality. Resources that should be allocated to the social and economic development of the country are diverted, harming the quality of life of the poorest Mexicans. Corruption hinders equal access to basic services such as health care, education, and security, contributing to the marginalization of vulnerable communities. Impunity is a key factor that fuels corruption in Mexico. The lack of proper investigations, efficient judicial processes, and consistent punishments allows corrupt acts to go unpunished. This creates a vicious cycle where corruption perpetrators are not held accountable, thus encouraging the continuation of these harmful practices. Combating corruption in Mexico is a complex challenge that requires comprehensive actions. It is crucial to strengthen justice and security institutions, ensure the independence and transparency of the judicial system, and promote a culture of accountability. It is also essential to invest in education and awareness to foster a cultural shift regarding corruption. International cooperation plays an important role in the fight against corruption. Mexico can benefit from the exchange of knowledge, experiences, and best practices with other countries that have faced similar challenges. Additionally, the support of international organizations can help strengthen institutional capacities and provide technical assistance to combat corruption more effectively. Overcoming corruption in Mexico will require long-term commitment, genuine political will, and active participation from the entire society. Building a fairer, transparent, and prosperous Mexico requires a comprehensive approach to eradicate corruption and promote ethics and integrity in all sectors of society. Economic challenges. Mexico faces a series of economic challenges that contribute to pushing it to the brink of chaos. These challenges impact various aspects of the country's economy, from economic growth to income inequality and lack of opportunities for the population. One of the main economic challenges faced by Mexico is the dependency on specific sectors such as oil and manufacturing. This dependency limits the diversification of the Mexican economy and makes it vulnerable to fluctuations in commodity prices and changes in global dynamics. The lack of diversification also hinders the creation of quality jobs and the generation of sustainable income. Furthermore, Mexico faces challenges related to income inequality and poverty. Despite being one of the largest economies in Latin America, the country exhibits high levels of inequality, with a significant portion of the population living in poverty or under precarious conditions. Income inequality restricts access to economic opportunities and perpetuates cycles of poverty.